Hey gang, it's your old buddy Platt, and today we're going to review another home brewing kit. This time it is the craft beer series from Mr. Beer. So let's go. So if you've been a follower of the channel for a while, you know I love home brewing kits. I can brew all grain beers, and I've done it before. But that's a lot of work. So I like these kits, especially I like these Mr. Beer kits. I've done several videos on them where either I've just reviewed the kit or I've added something to it, done a partial mash, enhanced it, doing adding grain or corn flakes or what have you. So the other day I decided to actually explore the Mr. Beer website. A lot of the Mr. Beer kits I had were just stuff I found at they were having like a closeout special at like a Bass Pro Shop, sold them for a while. I want to say Bed Bath & Beyond, Walmart sold them for a while. But I decided the other day to go through their website and see what else they offer. And what I saw was these. They have a craft beer series. Basically, it's conceptually be a progression from the old standard can of hop malt extract you got back with the base kit. So I thought today we would I would review this kit and kind of compare and contrast to the standard can that came with, when you get the kit, they give you a can of this classic American Light. So let's open up, see what we get here. First and foremost, I want to tell you exactly what I purchased and what you may see at a different site. I bought this through Amazon. What comes in the box is a pack of their non-rinse cleaner, sanitizer, a can of their hop malt extract. Now this is a Churchill Nut Brown Ale. And underneath the cap is the yeast. Now, if you go through their website, the Mr. Beer site, they sell this for a couple of bucks more, but it comes with carbonation drops, the Cooper's carbonation drops. That did not come with the Amazon pack, but it was a couple dollars cheaper. I have extra, leftover carbonation drops. I'm fine for that, but if you wanted that, be sure to look for that, whether you're purchasing through Amazon, Mr. Beer, what have you. Real quick, like I said, the main thrust of this video is comparing this to the older cans. First off, you obviously notice the size difference. The American Light can here is 1.87 pounds. This is a 3-pound can. This can of hopped malt extract, if we don't add anything else to it, produces a beer that comes out 3.6% alcohol by volume. This Nut Brown Ale, as is, will produce a beer 5.5% alcohol by volume. So we've got a bigger can of hop malt extract that's going to produce a higher ABV beer. Also notice now on the Mr. Beer kit, doesn't necessarily say it here, they are adding additional information on SRM, which is the color of beer from 0 to 40, tends to be the range. The higher the number, the darker the beer. The SRM on this is 22. Also, they give IBUs, which is International Bittering Units. Lets you know again how much hops is added or the bitterness of the beer. It's a little more complex than that, but it kind of gives you a gauge on the bitterness of beer. That comes in at 20. I like the idea that they're now giving that information. 20-something years ago when I had my first Mr. Beer kit, there was none of that information at all. They don't give you gravity readings on these kits because, again, as is, they'll tell you what the alcohol is. These kits are pretty straightforward, so you're not necessarily worried about missing your gravity point, messing up your beer. You follow the instructions, you will get 5.5% alcohol by volume on this beer. Couple other things I did note on the can is they provide they provide some nutritional facts on these cans that are not on the old cans. The old cans have the instructions on the outside label. Here, I have to tear the label and the instructions are on the inside. Also, I noticed that on this can, I don't know if this is something new by Mr. Beer, if it's going to be part of every product, or is this just the craft series, but on the can it claims that it's GMO free and it's vegan. So if that stuff's important to you, it is something that Mr. Beer is now doing or has done with this craft series can here. As far as the process to brew either one of these beers, they're the exact same. Also, Mr. Beer has another series called their Deluxe series. Basically, it's similar beers to the standard series, but they give you a pack of what they call booster. It's just adjunct, or basically more sugar added, and it'll bump up the ABV or whatever. You could, through Mr. Beer and or Amazon or whoever you order this stuff, get some of that booster. So if you wanted to boost up the ABV of this beer, you could get some of the booster that they sell. So that is an option. I am not, in this video, I'm not going to demonstrate how to brew this beer. For one, the instructions come. It's a pretty simple process. I will go over it real quick. First, you'll sanitize everything, and then you'll put a gallon of cold water in your fermenter, and you'll sit this off to the side. We will heat up 4 cups of water to a boil, and then we will add the can of hop malt extract to that. Make sure everything gets blended in, we don't scorch it, whatever, and then you will throw it into the fermenter, add more cold water to the 8.5 quart mark, I think it is, to cool down that wort, and then you will take, let me show you the yeast packet. And then you will take your yeast packet and put it in, or what they call pitch the yeast. If you've never worked with Mr. Beer before, I will put a link up here to my original Mr. Beer kit review video. You can see that. If you are unsure about sanitation practice, I'll throw another link up here to a video I did about homebrewing sanitation. So I tell you what, let me do this. Let me get this brewed up real quick, get it all thrown in the fermenter, and then we'll come back to wrap up and I'll talk you through the rest of the process up to bottling. Alrighty, so we got our beer brewed. We've with our can of hop malt extract, we produced 2 gallons of a nut brown ale. Went ahead and pitched our yeast, and that's where I kind of want to start off with this. Underneath the lid of all these Mr. Beer kits is just a blank pack of yeast, and it's their proprietary dry ale yeast. It's kind of a generic yeast. It's pretty hardy yeast, but it's very basic yeast. Once you get more into homebrewing, you'll learn the importance of yeast as far as producing great tasting beer. If you want to kind of take this experience up a notch or a little more advanced, you might want to think about changing from this generic ale yeast to something like this here SAF Ale USO5 yeast. On the Mr. Beer website, they do sell this packet yeast and some of the other products, the SAF Brew, SAF Ale line. I think you'll find a better result. Not that this will be a bad beer, but you will improve it. Whether it's 5%, 10%, it's hard to say, but I think you will notice something. You could also go a little further, at either through Amazon or if you have access to Homebrew Shop or whatever. Find these liquid tubes of yeast, these specialty yeast. This is an Edinburgh ale yeast. You can find a yeast strain for every specific style of beer. Bock beer yeast, lager style yeast, barley wine style yeast, stout yeast, for different styles. So you could probably go out there and find like an English ale style yeast for this, or a brown ale style yeast for this beer if you wanted to. And that's a simple way, again, of improving your beer without, again, going to the all grain route, what have you. Real quick, a couple things stuck out at me on the instructions. Here's the inside label instructions. First foremost, on the back side, the spigots on this side, back side of these Mr. Beer kits has these little notches that'll tell you to fill the line 1, line 2. They're on the back side. Second, it says, like I said, we've pitched the yeast. It says leave it room temperature. Room temperature for their purposes is 68 to 76 degrees. Again, room temperature. Let this sit for a minimum of 10 days. I would like to encourage you at least a minimum of 2 weeks. The first few times I've ever used Mr. Beer years ago, I got a little rushed. I would let it ferment for a week, then I'd bottle condition for a week, and then I'm ready to drink. You will taste the difference. If you drink it too early, it's a little green. You really will know that it's extract. That's an extract brew. Yeah, you'll taste the difference. Let this go for a full 2 weeks at least. If you let it go 3, it wouldn't be a bad thing necessarily. Then you'd be ready to bottle. And again, Mr. Beer recommends 2 weeks at room temperature. And please make sure it's at least 2 weeks. Again, another thing that people kind of rush is maybe they'll let it sit out for a week and they're like, well, I'll throw it in the fridge for a week and then it'll still be 2 weeks. If you throw it in the fridge too early, the cold temperature fridge will crash that yeast and stop yeast activity. Yeast produces the CO2 that carbonates that beer. Let it stay out for a full 2 weeks, get your full carbonation, and then throw it in the refrigerator. And again, I would let it go a little time in the refrigerator, even though after a few hours it'd be ready to drink. As far as temperature wise, I'd still let it sit there a little bit. Just give it a little time, you will taste the difference. If you're interested and would like this Mr. Beer Nut Brown kit, I will leave an affiliate link down below where you can purchase it on Amazon. If you're curious about other beer kits or the Mr. Beer line or whatever, in my Amazon affiliate store, I'll have a link down below. You can find the different brew kits I've recommended, what have you, and give them a try. Well, I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please subscribe down below. Also, please like the video because it lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them on the comment section, or you can contact me on the Twitter page. So I got another homebrew rating. You'll see it in the video. So I always like to go bottoms up. So let me give this a try. This is Secret Beer. I'll review later. Bottoms up.